Over the past couple of days, loads of you have been sending me this Reddit leak, allegedly from the infamous Andrew, who came into the comment section of this very YouTube channel and basically leaked the entirety of Season 2. Now luckily we didn't actually cover Andrew's leaks at the time, but they were still there. But Andrew is allegedly back, and we'll break down and read the full leak later in the video, but the main headline from Andrew is that the BBC and Bad Wolf are trying to get in as many doctors as possible for next year's 2026 Christmas special. Now, obviously that sounds like either a fan's nightmare or a fan's absolute dream. But the one thing it can definitely do, and one of the main reasons that the BBC would possibly go for this, is bring in viewers. Obviously, Doctor Who has faced a declining viewership, as has much of TV in general over the past couple of years. So if the BBC are truly sticking to committing to Doctor Who's future, they are going to need to draw everybody's eyes back. The 60th anniversary did good viewing numbers, it brought a lot of people back, and that was just Tennant. But what if you threw in Matt Smith and Ncuti Gatwa and Jodie Whittaker and Peter Davison into the mix? There's also been a lot of talk recently about Paul McGann being sighted at Bad Wolf Studios. And also there's this little leak about him allegedly being seen filming with the TARDIS on a beach. I do think that could mean something, but it also could quite possibly be for one of the collection box sets. Maybe they're doing a Wilderness Years collection, maybe not. As I say, we'll actually read the leak soon, but another thing it states is that this is kind of gearing up to be a finale to Doctor Who, which is something we've never really seen. We've never seen, I mean, the closest we've come to it, I guess, is Power of the Doctor, but we've never seen an episode that is like, this is what would happen if the show ended. But before we break down the leak in its entirety, I thought the easiest way to look at this whole situation and break down the question that everybody's been asking: which Doctors would be likely to appear in this special? I've got this handy little tier list here, as you can see, and today, no, I'm not going to be ranking them on which Doctors I'd like to come back. I am ranking them on logistically how likely they are to come back, what rumours, what leaks have been told. As I mentioned, Paul McGann has been seen filming on a beach with a TARDIS somewhere, so that shoots his odds higher up. Let me know if you disagree with any of my picks, but first up, we are going to put, I don't think you can disagree with this one, we're going to put William Hartnell and Patrick Troughton and Jon Pertwee in D tier, because, well, they're not here anymore, are they? That's not necessarily ruling out the first, second and third Doctors. They could, in theory, have the break glass in case of emergency, bring in David Bradley. They've done that for Twice Upon a Time, they did it for the docu-series An Adventure in Space and Time. They've also done it more recently in Power of the Doctor, so actually it's not impossible to see the first Doctor. So, you know what, William Hartnell is going to be in D tier, because the only way they could in theory bring back William Hartnell, it wouldn't be William Hartnell, but would be CGIing. And I'm not being funny, without Disney they don't have the budget for that, and also I'd like to think that the production team wouldn't do that. But then again, Russell did, I'm 90% sure it was a joke, but he did say in an interview with Ncuti and Millie during the Season 1 press tour, oh yes, it would be marvellous to have like a CGI William Hartnell and all the Doctors come back, which I don't think he'd actually do. So I am going to shift the first Doctor to B tier. Obviously, the William Hartnell played first Doctor is not in B tier. But yeah, the second Doctor I'm going to leave in D tier. We've seen Rhys Shearsmith take on the mantle, but realistically, sure, Patrick Troughton is one of the best classic Doctors, but why would he be there? The first one's there because he's the first. Do you know what I mean? That's a staple. You've got David Bradley. That's an established face for this character. I don't think they'd bring in the second Doctor. Now, I am going to shift Jon Pertwee's Doctor. Obviously, not Pertwee the man. I don't know why I need to keep clarifying this. We're not stupid. But the third Doctor is going to sit in C tier for likelihood to come back, because Sean Pertwee could play him. Like, you've actually got an actor there, his own son, who looks incredibly like him, that could play him. But also that's incredibly unlikely, because once again, kind of like, why? And also, Sean Pertwee has said in a couple of interviews he doesn't really want to step on his dad's legacy, so it's not impossible, but it's unlikely, so he's going to remain in C tier. Now, Tom Baker, I'm actually going to put in B tier, which is probably quite generous, and maybe me just wishful thinking because I absolutely love the Fourth Doctor. But there have literally been pictures as recent as a couple of days ago of Tom Baker in his Doctor gear. Now, this was to collect his MBE rather than for filming, but yeah, no, I'm gonna move him down to C tier, okay? I'd love to see him, and he is still thankfully with us. But it is worth remembering as well, he was asked in the filming of Power of the Doctor to come back and play a Guardian of the Edge, and he turned that role down. Now, we don't know whether that was just in keeping with Tom Baker's legendary age-old "I don't work with other doctors," or whether it was health permitting. We don't quite know. He's in his 90s now, so like, I only want him to come back if he's happy to come back. If not, just let the man be. It's not impossible, which is why it's not in D tier, but it's so incredibly unlikely. He wouldn't come back for long, but maybe a tiny little sort of curator-like appearance. If this idea of big multi-Doctor Christmas special is true, that's the only capacity I could see him in. Now we're going to go for Mr. Peter Davison. I'm going to put him in B tier as well. He's right there next to David Bradley's First Doctor. It's like, yeah, if they are bringing in classic Doctors, Peter Davison will always come back. He's pretty good in the role. He was back in Power of the Doctor not that long ago, then back for Tales of the TARDIS. It's not impossible. I just don't see it happening. Like, he's been back for Power of the Doctor. What more do you want to do with the character? And someone pointed out in the comments of the Reddit leak, actually, which is so accurate, like, does it not just become dimensions in time? If you're chucking all of these Doctors in, like, there's got to sort of be narrative reason for them to be there. But, yeah, Peter Davison would do it. It's not impossible. Just, once again, unlikely, but not too unlikely, so he's going to stay in B tier. Right next to him, to be honest, I'm going to put Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy. It's exactly the same line of thinking, to be honest. If you get one of those four back, you get the others. It's literally what happened with Power of the Doctor. They all, like, stayed in the same hotel, filmed in the same place. Why would you just, on their own, bring back either Sylvester McCoy? I suppose Mel's working for UNIT, so that slightly favours Sylvester McCoy and Colin Baker, because there'd be a thematic reason to tie in. I mean, we did see the Sixth Doctor's coat in Empire of Death. Mel had that little moment with it, but I don't know. I mean, the title, we talked about this in one of my prior videos, but the title of the episode is allegedly The Lost Doctor, so it could be a thing of, like, the Doctor transforming into different versions of their own face to try and find the new one, or you could actually have a scene with the Guardians of the Edge, which would push them up. Like, if the Doctor's lost and Rose has been transported there to find them, for example, and Rose somehow travels to the Edge, to the Guardians of the Edge, that's the most likely scenario I see of all these Doctors being in it. But then we move on to Paul McGann. I'm going to put him in A tier. Now, that's a very generous A tier. This is under the presumption that they are making a multi-Doctor special. If they are, all the evidence of him appearing at Bad Wolf, him filming on a beach with a TARDIS, like, it all stacks up in the favour of Paul McGann being in it. Also, he's had the least screen time. Also, he's really good in the role. I could see them bringing him back if they're going to bring back any of them. And the Lost Doctor, the Last Doctor, he would technically kind of count as a Lost Doctor. Like, his era never really kicked in. It's one movie and a mini episode. So, yeah, I could see him getting more screen time. I still think it's unlikely, though. We also broke down in one of my other videos, these rumours about Paul McGann are likely just him coming back for the new season of Luther, or I think it's actually a movie rather than a season, but he was a pivotal character in that. And yeah, I don't think he's coming back to Doctor Who, But if there is a multi-Doctor special with a bunch of Doctors, he's a likely contender to appear. The War Doctor, I am going to put next to Patrick Troughton in D tier. Obviously, sadly, John Hurt has passed away, so there you go. There is a guy, his name escapes me, who plays him on Big Finish, who's like a younger version of the War Doctor, but I don't think they'd recast the War Doctor, and I really don't see, like, the War Doctor story is done. Like, it's tied up with the Time War. We've literally seen him regenerate as well. There'd be no story reason, maybe as a Guardian of the Edge, guiding the Doctor, something like that, but as I say, sadly John Hurt's no longer with us. I don't think they're going to recast the role for the live action show, so the John Hurt War Doctor is in D tier. Sadly, like, I'd love to put him in A tier. I'm just going to, no, S tier even, I'm going to leave him there just for a brief moment so I can be happy in the knowledge that one of the best Doctors ever may come back. But he's not coming back, is he? I mean, the special is written by Russell T Davies, Julie Gardner, Jane Tranter, Phil Collinson are all working on it, and I think we know Mr. Eccleston's thoughts on that. If it was different writers, I'd boost his odds quite substantially. Like, I love the interview with Big Finish, because obviously Eccleston now does the audio adventures on Big Finish, where they're like, so why did you want to come back to the role of the Doctor? And he just goes, money. I wanted the money. It's like, you know what, fair enough, Chris. All power to you, but look, I'd love it. I would love it to see the Ninth Doctor on screen again, but in this current production, I think he's made his thoughts very clear on not returning. However, we're now on the opposite end of the scale. I am willing to bet this mug. I will send this mug to some random person watching this video if it doesn't happen. David Tennant is 100% going to be in the 2026 Christmas special. You have Billy Piper back. That face makes no logical sense to bring back. Like, what, you would not bring back the face of Rose Tyler unless you were going to make her meet the David Tennant Doctor, because what would be the point in her? And also, we're not forgetting, so I'm going to put the 10th Doctor actually in B tier, because you wouldn't go for the 10th. David Tennant's aged, you'd need to slightly de-age him. You'd literally have the 14th Doctor is going right up in S tier, like unquestionably S tier. This man is still chilling about on Earth. If the title The Last Doctor is to be believed, and the Doctor's sort of poofed away vanished into existence, and it's like, oh no, where's the Doctor gone? This guy's still on Earth. He's still there. And I'm telling you, I've said it so many times, the Christmas special is going to start, Rose in the TARDIS going, oh no, the Doctor's lost. Pull the levers, goes to the 14th Doctor. Oh my gosh, that's Rose's face, but you're not Rose, or are you Rose? They have a little moment, and then they go in search of the real Doctor. David Tennant has to merge into them. It's 100% happening. I'm also going to put Metacrisis 10 in A tier, because technically that does count as a different regeneration. And also, if we've got Rose Tyler back, which is incredibly likely, I mean, Jane Tranter said in an interview, oh, and Russell did a big tease where he brought Rose back. She didn't say brought Billy Piper as the Doctor, she said brought Rose back. So I think it's pretty likely 2026 special. I mean, look at the credits as well. She's not credited as the Doctor, it's and introducing Billy Piper. So Metacrisis 10 is not as likely as 14, because we know 14, he's part of this era, like he's part of the RTD2 era, it makes sense to pick up that loose end, but Metacrisis 10 isn't impossible since it's Rose's story, so that's a possibility. I'm also going to put, this is once again, I need to keep reminding you, under the presumption that this is a big bombastic multi-Doctor special, Matt Smith would definitely, well, he keeps saying he'd come back. The only thing maybe stopping it is his rates are probably quite high now. Like, he's a very in-demand actor, he's quite famous now. I'm pretty sure I don't know, does he live in America? Maybe he did for a time, but yeah, that's... I'd love Matt Smith to come back, especially as a Guardian of the Edge. Like, that would be so cool. Like, Tom Baker, Matt Smith, David Tennant, Guardians of the Edge, Eccleston, Guardian of the Edge. Like, I think Chris Chibnall, all power to him, that was one of the best like Who concepts he came up with. But yeah, Matt Smith would likely come back. Now, it really hurts. It's painful. But Capaldi, I'm going to put him in C tier. Realistically, he's probably in D tier. He has repeatedly said he would never come back to Doctor Who. He's described as well this beautiful idea he has of like, the Doctor is just this thing on TV, and he preferred the classic way where they came and then they went. You never saw them again. He doesn't rewatch the classic episodes despite being a big Doctor Who fan, because he doesn't want to tarnish his memory of childhood and seeing it at the time, and he views the Doctor as like, once they're gone, they're gone. So he's not coming back, but it's not impossible. He is still acting, he's still an amazing ambassador for the show. They definitely invite him back for a multi-Doctor special, but I don't think he would. However, we can thankfully put Miss Jodie Whittaker right up there in S tier. She would 100% come back. She came back for the Reality War. She's repeatedly gone, give me as much Doctor Who as possible and I'll do it. David Tennant, Matt Smith, Jodie Whittaker, possibly Paul McGann. What a stacked lineup. Like, that would be great. But yeah, if there is a multi-Doctor special, no questions asked, Jodie is 100% there. It could also sort of tie into what on earth was going on in the Reality War, because as I say, the 13th Doctor just shows up for kind of no reason. So maybe you tie all that in. Now, it's weird to be ranking him in terms of will he come back to Doctor Who, because he's only just gone. But Ncuti Gatwa, I'm also going to put in S tier, not for a prolonged appearance, but obviously his ending was rushed. That was all done. There's a lot of rumours. Obviously, we're going to read the leak in a second, but there's a lot of rumours about the Daleks being in this episode. There's Reddit leaks which suggest that this Christmas episode is kind of a 20-year sequel to Doomsday, the David Tennant Doctor, Rose and the Daleks. And how many times did Ncuti Gatwa on the Doctor Who press tour say, I want to fight the Daleks. I'm not leaving Doctor Who without the Daleks. What's the point of playing the Doctor if you're not fighting the Daleks? Let that man fight the Daleks. Yeah, I think they might. So those are, in my opinion, the realistic likelihoods of each Doctor coming back, but what does this Reddit leak actually say, and how credible is it? Like, is there even any point in reading it? It's marked as a spoiler, so there will be minor spoilers here. If you don't want to hear them, probably leave, but realistically, we're not even sure if it's real, so you might as well stick around. Andrew, the person who leaked all of Season 2's details correctly, has supposedly returned with info on the Xmas special. I say supposedly, as there have been a few imitators pretending to be him since then too, so adjust your skepticism level as required. Now this is true. Big Andrew has disappeared over the past couple of months, and apparently I've heard from a couple of people, which is also unreliable sources, but I think Bad Wolf might have clocked onto who Andrew was and taken him round the back and bang! Or at least politely asked him to stop and then threatened him with legal action. But we don't know whether that's true. The thing is, we never found out who Andrew was or if Andrew was his real name. He was just posting all these leaks, then seemingly vanishing into thin air. So this could be from Andrew, but also, what do you mean, like, where's the evidence? Because look, I'm not saying it was the only place he was active, but it was this channel's comment section that he was leaking stuff in. He's not leaked anything recently. So when they're saying Andrew supposedly came back, did he? Where? Where did Andrew come back? Provide your receipts. Either way, they go on to say that the episode is basically a Marvel what-if type story. And it's a what if we made the last ever episode of Doctor Who. Which, I can't lie, that's kind of a cool concept to do. I don't think Doctor Who will ever technically end, and as I mentioned at the start of this video, Power of the Doctor in a way is that, like a big nostalgia fest finale to say goodbye, but The Simpsons did a similar thing recently where they did like we're not ending the show, but what if we did end the show and this was the final episode? So it's quite an interesting concept, and I could see if Russell and team are leaving, them wanting to do a big bombastic special, and if Carol Ann Ford as Susan is in the special, which, let's be honest, realistically she probably will be, the leak does actually mention her in a minute, that brings the show full circle, and would actually up the likelihood of David Bradley being in the episode. But it won't be the last episode because time will be rewound at the end, back to the regeneration, and depending on the situation, by Christmas next year, we either get the next real Doctor or something more open-ended. Now, there's no way they'd do something more open-ended unless it was actually the end of Doctor Who. The reason we're in this mess in the first place, 100%, is because Russell T Davies did not want it to fade to black. Russell T Davies is not going to come back and go, okay, we'll bring back Billie Piper and then let the show fade to black. Like, that would be an even worse dramatic ending where there's literally nothing at the end, so people are like, there's no end in sight, Doctor Who's cancelled, Doctor Who's over. I don't believe that for a second. They will definitely, if there is a regeneration, they will definitely show a face of another Doctor. Maybe they'll loop back and do previous Doctors because we cannot escape nostalgia. Carol Ann Ford will have a big role in the episode, just not the one she was originally planned to have. Now, what does that mean? Like, she's not playing Susan? She's definitely playing Susan if she's in the episode, because she said grandfather in the Interstellar Song Contest. Maybe I took that too literally. Maybe they mean her role as, like, Poppy's mother has shifted, and they're going in a completely different direction. I'm still betting that she is the boss that keeps getting name-dropped throughout the season, but this part of the leak, I think, is 100% correct. Carol Ann Ford, David Tennant, Billie Piper, they're like the three Hundy Peas. They're like guaranteed to be in that Christmas special, I think. While the broad strokes of the script are in place, the details are in flux, no pun intended, as they're basically trying to pull in all the favours in terms of who they can get to appear in it. They're hoping for everyone bar Eccleston and Capaldi. As I said in my little tier list thing, those two are some of the most unlikely to come back, and when they say everyone, I don't think they mean the first three Doctors or John Hurt. But until they get firm commitments, it's more a case of generic Doctor and generic companion appear at this point in the story. This is the biggest red flag of this leak so far. Russell T Davies does not write, at least I really hope he does not write for, but he did tell Stephen Moffat Ruby's a generic companion, just the basic generic companion. But he won't. I have enough faith that Russell will not be sat there. If Russell has an idea, he'll have the idea, he'll expand on the idea. Look at the 60th, actually. World Blue Yonder is a perfect example of Russell not doing this big multi-Doctor thing. We were all hoping and kind of expecting the 60th to have more Doctors than just David Tennant in, but obviously it wasn't like that at all. They were three relatively self-contained, just about that Doctor stories. Obviously you have the bi-generation, but this doesn't ring true. Like, as I said earlier, this is dimensions in time. You can't just chuck random Doctors and random companions in willy-nilly. Russell has also publicly voiced multiple times his opinion about not bringing... Like, he doesn't like multi-Doctor stories. And obviously he technically wrote one. But he doesn't like that whole thing. And the bi-generation, I'd argue, is a different case of multi-Doctor. It's not, oh, you've been extracted from your timeline and put here. But then I suppose he did do that with Jodie Whittaker in the Reality War. But this idea of generic companion, generic Doctor written in the script, no, silly. This next bit, I do believe though, shooting is planned for February/March, and it should be closer to 90 minutes than 60. It's definitely going to be a big special. This is the return and possible end of Doctor Who. Like, it's gonna be a big, bombastic Christmas Day feast for all the family. The BBC slate last year with Wallace and Gromit, Gavin and Stacey, I suppose Doctor Who as well, like that hit, that got them loads of viewers. They're going to be wanting that again. Overall, this leak, I think, sadly, isn't true. I think there's elements of truth to it, but that's how you tell the best lie. That's how you create the best fake leak, as these people do. Yes, I reckon they'll be filming in February and March, but that's from other leaks that we've heard, because apparently Billie Piper's contracted for Wednesday towards the latter half of the year. Bad Wolf also like to shoot in advance. Yes, Carol Ann Ford will probably make a big, strong character appearance in this episode, but that's just logical because she was shown in the prior episodes. Like, it's just flowing through. The rest of it, I think it's a cool concept. I'd happily see a what if we made the last episode ever, but I don't think that's Russell's plan. The show is about looking forward, not ending. Like, the last thing they want to do now is go, the show's ending, although it could be clever marketing like they did with Mrs. Flood. Show ends May 24th. They could do like a little, the show's going to end, and we'll play it into the narrative. But I think it's unlikely. I don't think this leak is correct. There's truthful elements, but overall, I'm going to have to stamp the no, hashtag not Andrew on this. But let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. Have you seen any other leaks? Are there any other things you'd like me to comment on and break down, discuss, and figure out the truth behind? Let me know. Thank you for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video. Cheers and goodbye. Also, actually, I've started a new channel. I'll link it in the comments in the description. If you're in a Wicked mood for the Wicked movie, I've done a video about Oz Lost Media. There's Back to the Future videos coming to that channel soon. Stranger Things videos coming to that channel. Any support helps me out. Check it out. Cheers, thanks, goodbye.
Don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Confused Adipose YouTube channel.
I will destroy you!
She's not seen a single episode.
No, I've watched your episodes.
Keep these sonic screwdrivers.
What else am I saying about the film? Don't watch this one.